Hi guys. I'm a little nervous, so if it's okay with y'all, I'd like to lead us in three deep breaths. I'll say in and out as we go, and if it's all right with y'all, we'll go ahead and start right here. In and out, in and out, and last one. In and out. Thanks, guys. 10 years ago, my grandfather passed away. He was a role model, a coach, a parent, and a loving husband to my grandmother, who he lived with in a house they built together in Waverly, Texas. Texas has a history of making tough people, and my grandmother, who we call Nana, is no different. But take a second to imagine living by yourself on 60 acres in the hills of central Texas. Now imagine doing that as a 9-year-old widow with two fake knees. In fact, this August, my grandmother celebrated her 98th birthday. And we would all be forgiven for thinking she has a tough life. And in some ways, she does. But Nana is also one of the most happy, positive, and active people that I know. Each day, she takes care of plants, goes on go-kart walks with her dog. She volunteers at a thrift shop. She attends church regularly. She has a short stretching routine in the morning, and I can't say her diet is non-fat or vegan, but she eats and drinks in moderation, and she's always on the move. As some of you know, in 2023, I made the decision to move from the Northeast back down to Texas, and spending more time with her was a big part of the reason why. But having spent more time with her, it made me start to wonder, how is it that she's so healthy at an age when so many are? I actually had this question in mind while I was on the train to last year's EcoFest. I was chatting with another passenger, and after a while, she mentioned that her father had just celebrated his 100th birthday. So I had to ask her what she thinks has helped him live so long. And she paused for a bit and she responded, well, he doesn't eat that healthy, but he sees his friends every day. He gardens, he spends time outside. He's active, and he's always positive. And I thought, well, that all sounds pretty familiar. So, being the curious and obsessive ecosystem engineer that I am, I started doing a little digging. A few Googles later, I was reading through medical journals and seeing what the scientific community had to say about it all. Of course, there were common factors. Smoking, drinking heavily, both reduce life expectancy by around 6 years each. Eating fruits and vegetables, on the other hand, can increase it by about a year. But there were two additional factors that I kept seeing pop up. The first is cardiovascular fitness. Cardiovascular fitness is a number that describes how well your body delivers oxygen to your muscles and organs. And on average, it decreases by about 1% every year after we turn 30. Studies have shown a quick test of it is a better predictor of death than many other illnesses or diseases or predisposition to illness or disease. It's also something we can influence relatively effectively without any drugs or supplements. One study found that 150 minutes of moderate physical activity per week reduced the mortality risk for participants of the study by half. This can be jogging, biking, basketball, even a quick brisk walk around the neighborhood during lunch. That's 20 minutes a day to substantially increase your chances of a long life, and all without dealing with private or public healthcare systems. I'll put the links to some of the reading material for anyone who's interested at the end of the presentation. So you might be wondering, what was the second factor that kept popping up? Stress. It's a vague word. We all know it. We all know it's bad. But we also know it's unavoidable in our lives, and that there are all kinds of it. A tough project at work, a new child that's having trouble sleeping through the night. Speaking in front of all of you tonight is definitely stressful, and you should see my heart rate over the last 5 minutes. In fact, some types of stress are beneficial. Short-term stressful experiences can help train our body to be better able to handle future situations. That's how exercise works and why I'm in front of all of you tonight working on my public speaking. But what I found most interesting is that it's not the presence or the absence of stress that impacts our longevity. It's our reaction to it. In a study by Yale in 2021, they found that participants who scored the highest in emotional regulation and self-control were most resistant to all the other effects of aging. The author of the study put it quite directly. The more psychologically resilient, the higher likelihood of having a longer and healthier life. Again, this seemed like a great way to live longer and potentially avoid the doctor. The path to emotional regulation, self-control, will look different for everyone. And to be honest, I know that I have as much to work on in this regard as anyone does. But I did start practicing meditation during COVID, and I've been learning more about breath work. Even a few intentional breaths, like we all took together at the beginning of the speech, can help me feel more grounded. And both have seemed to help me feel more calm and mindful over the past few years. So with all this in mind, I finally worked up the courage to tell Nana that I was giving some sort of company speech about her and ask her why she thinks that she has lived so long. We talked about being active. She played tennis into her early 90s. She's always on the move, but she said something else that really struck me. You know, she told me, your papa and I, we never got too tight. My sister were always worried. My sisters were always so worried about things. But papa and I never got too tight. What was her secret? I wondered. How did she deal with being stressed or overwhelmed? I asked. Well, you could always walk out the door and have a beer. Slam the door if you have to, she joked. But she said mostly her and my grandfather would just try to talk through problems together. Not argue, not get too upset, thinking through things calmly, and even encouraging themselves to attend counseling sessions when they wanted to learn how to improve their conversations. Like I said at the beginning, my grandmother's tough. But I think I understand better now that it's both her healthy physical and mental habits that have helped make her so resilient to life's hardships. Where does that leave us? I'm only 33. Many here are both older and wiser than me, and I can't pretend that I have it all figured out. But medical studies and family stories alike both show that keeping healthy habits can help us all live longer. Taking things calmly, talking through problems, maybe playing a little tennis. So if there's a simple takeaway from the speech, it's this. 20 minutes a day of moderate physical activity and taking time to work on your mental health. Because I really enjoy life and I want to enjoy it with all of you as long as we can. Thanks.